SABC 2. Welcome back to the University of the Western Cape. Now, we can't talk about National Science Week and not mention SKA, which is an essential part of science and how technology is going to improve in the next coming years. Now, to tell us more is the SKA's Dr. Rob Adam, and then later on we'll speak to a bursary holder of the SKA program. Well, he will probably be here to solve a couple of problems speaking about that. Now, Dr. Adam, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you for having me here at Science Week. It's great to be here again.
What is the role of SKA in initiatives such as National Science Week?
Look, SKA is the premier science infrastructure project in South Africa. Minister Pandor recently launched the first part of this project, the so-called Array Release 1 of the Meerkat, which is an SKA radio telescope precursor. The significance of this array release was it shows us that everything works perfectly, and in fact that we as South Africans have designed and built an instrument that performs better than spec, and the rest of the world is really sitting up and taking notice.
And how does the Meerkat fit into SKA project that South Africa will host with Australia?
Look, it's the first part of it, and it's our contribution to it. We'll complete the Meerkat towards the end of next year, and then the larger project will start, and ultimately our Meerkat will get integrated into that array. The Meerkat is located about 100 kilometers north of Carnarvon. Its baseline is 8 kilometers, but ultimately the SKA phase 1 will be much larger. It will have spirals going out to about 155 kilometers. And then ultimately SKA 2 will spread over large parts of Africa, even up to Madagascar, Mauritius, Kenya, etc. You've seen how impressive even a few dishes in the Karoo look. Yeah. Ultimately, spreading over Africa, you'll have about 2,000 such dishes.
Let's talk about the benefits and how the communities of the Northern Cape will benefit from the SKA.
Look, we've already been involving them in terms of educational projects, artisan training projects. There is a science teacher, Mr. Itumeleng Molefe, in Carnarvon High School, who has successfully coached 5 matriculants, one of whom I think you'll meet in a few minutes, up to matric level. They've got university passes in maths and science. They're now studying different technical subjects at South African universities. We're also involving the community in a range of other social development projects, from libraries to assisting in a range of other training and business generation projects. We're building a road from Carnarvon up to the site, about 100 kilometers northwest of there. Local contractors have 15% of the work for that project, and so we're making sure that relatively previously deprived community is getting the benefits it deserves, because they're hosting us in their backyard, and we need to be grateful for that.
All right, Dr. Adam, I'm going to ask you to move a bit to my right, and then I'm going to bring a young man who's benefited from the SKA bursary project, and he'll tell us more about this. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Talk to us about this bursary. How did you become part of it? How did you end up here?
It all started in 2014 when we got an invite at school, all physics and mathematics learners, to come and participate in writing a test along with your end of the year results, which will where you will be considered to become part of the project at school level. And at the end of matric, if you did well and meet the necessary requirements, you will eventually be sponsored to go and study towards any physics or mathematics field.
Okay, so what are you studying at the moment?
I'm currently studying BAc Physics with the aim to go on to study astrophysics to become the first astrophysicist in my community. Yeah.
What does that even mean? So what does this entail?
It means that I can be a part of the site. I can go back home and work and be a part of SKA, the building of SKA, be a part of the research and just take part in the overall build of this beautiful science project.
What is it about science that was so attractive to you?
It's the fact that science helps you to understand everyday life. Things that you just see with the mere eye. With science you can actually know why certain phenomena happen outside. yeah. And that really attracted me and made me love the subject, yeah.
Yeah. What has been the highlight since you started studying?
The highlight was, meeting new people, I think, and meeting people from different fields in the science departments. And it is wonderful to see how people, children who once also was a kid like you actually became someone great through science and is making a difference by making use of science. And that's actually what I'd like to also do one day by making use of science, yes.
Yeah. Talk to us about your community and describe what this community is like and what, your parents thought when you said to them, look, I find science attractive.
I think my mom and dad has always supported me, and when I told them that I want to go and do science, I really appreciate the support they showed me, because they didn't discourage me. They actually encouraged me by the fact that knowing that there's a project such as the SKA that can help me to go on to varsity and actually make something of myself by making use of science. So I think, and it's my community. I come from a very small community, and therefore to have such opportunities is wonderful, and it was just up to me to make use of it. And I gotta say, I'm really proud that I get the chance to represent my community in a science capacity.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's take a quick ad break. We're live from the University of the Western Cape, and then we'll continue speaking to the stakeholders regarding what is going on at the University of Western Cape. All right. Before I even go to the ad break, I'm going to introduce my next guest so we can talk about everything national science, technology, all things coming. I'm going to ask you to move in through here, and then yes. All right. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Live. Tell us about your role at National Science Week.
So my company, Hyrax Biosciences, was spun out of the University of the Western Cape, and we've built some drug resistance testing software that takes data from a very complex machine called a next generation sequencing machine that can do drug resistance tests for many, many HIV positive people at the same time, and takes all that messy, complex data and turns it into a really simple, clear report that a doctor can read.
Yeah.
We're in a situation right now where over 50% of HIV positive people in some parts of South Africa who are already on antiretroviral drugs have high viral loads. And the only way to tell whether that's because they're not taking their drugs properly or because they're drug resistant is to do these tests. So we need to be able to find a way to do them cheaply, and that's what we've done.
Yeah. What for you has necessitated this project?
I think we basically started this whole project in about 2012, and we had researchers coming to us saying we'd really like to use these new machines to do these tests, because we're seeing it's becoming more and more important, but we don't know how to analyze the data. And so my supervisor, Simon Travers at the University of the Western Cape, I was a PhD student at the time, decided this would be a fantastic project to start, and this is how we came on.
2012, how's it grown? You've seen it come to life. What for you has been the highlight?
A real highlight from this year was we were runner-up in the Innovation Prize for Africa, which is a continental award reflecting innovation on the continent, and that we had amazing nominees, and we came from 1,000 nominees down to being second, and that was incredible.
And making this language of HIV and antiretrovirals simple to people in South Africa is an important role that science plays. How do we make sure that it trickles down to the man on the street?
It's an interesting question. We're in a position now where the new test and treat protocol is coming in, which says that every single HIV positive person should be on antiretroviral drugs. And we've got to make sure that those people understand their protocols and take their drugs appropriately. And I think that's a really important part of the process.
So how far are we now in the project?
So we've launched, our HIV product is live, and we're now in a really exciting phase where we're starting to see that being used largely in research labs at the moment, but we're also expanding into doing TB drug resistance testing and other kinds of drug resistance tests, so not just for HIV, but moving into other tests as well.
What is the final leg and the final product you've launched, but what is the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal is to see more people take the right drugs at the right time. For HIV, for TB, we're in a situation where a lot of these drugs are ceasing to work, and we're not picking it up quickly enough. So people are getting sick and also transmitting drug resistance to other people. And if we don't catch this quickly, then more people get sick and eventually drugs stop working. And so we really need to do these tests, and that's the end goal is to see this used widely so that we can give the right drugs to the right people.
Yeah. And I imagine the role of the Department of Health is also a crucial one in this project.
We always are in conversations with a lot of the players. It's a very important to get buy-in nationally and to continue to do this well.
What does this say about the power of science and solving modern day problems?
The power of science is extraordinary. It's really, really important to continue to do tests, to continue to move forward, to not just look at the pipeline of drugs, but to also look at the pipeline of the diagnostic tests that can tell which drugs should be given.
What did this teach you about your love for science?
I'm incredibly passionate about science. I've come from originally a theoretical physics background, moved through a whole bunch of software development, and ended up in biology. So this is really where I'm happiest, is knowing that the science is being applied to something that can help people.
All right. Thank you so much for waking up. I'm usually up at this hour, though.
Definitely not.
All right. Thank you so much for spending the morning with us.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
All right. Talking all things science and, the power of technology in solving modern day problems like, HIV and catching, the virus, and making sure that people take the right amount of drugs at the right time. And, TB as well. It's not just HIV. It's also antiretrovirals. All right. Let's see. Where are we?